My friend Bob and Kevin and I got together to raise Bob's front end of his C6 Corvette. Every time he pulls into the driveway, he scrapes the front end and has broken the air dam underneath a couple of times. So by raising this, he's not going to scrape all the time and give himself a little bit more clearance under the front end. If you want to lift the front end of your car to help with this, this is a process that you would follow. In the very first video, you can notice that the car is sitting there and there's a block of wood behind the tires. So the very first thing we're going to do is pull that up onto that block of wood, the car. That allows us to get the jack underneath the cradle of the engine. We're going to lift the car from that cradle and we're going to insert some pucks in the jack stand spots on the body, where we're going to sit the car down on those jack stands. This is going to allow us to remove the wheels and then get in there and make the adjustments to the front leaf spring that goes across the front of the car and make the adjustment. We'll show you those screws and those nuts as we go through this. After we jacked up the car, we set it on those jack stands that you see there and lowered the car down and removed the jack. We pulled the tires off and then we found the bolt that we're going to adjust the car. You turn it left to lower your car, you turn it right to raise your car. Pretty easy to remember, L and R. And then the best thing you can do is squirt it with some WD-40 or some JB lubricants to break that so that you don't strip this thing out. So we pre-squirted it and then we're going to get ready to raise. So now this is the reason that we remove the jack and have it sitting on the jack stand, because we're going to use the jack and we're going to put a little block of wood in here and we're going to put it underneath the leaf spring under the A-arm, and we're going to lift it up by about 2 or 3 pumps. That's going to take the pressure off of that leaf spring so that when we adjust the 10mm bolt and we turn it right to raise the car, we're going to end up not stripping it. It's going to make it a lot easier to turn on each of the cranks. So again, what we're going to do now is we've got pressure onto the leaf spring underneath there with that block. We're going to get that 10mm on here, we're going to crank it to the right, and we're going to count how many times we move it, because you want to make each side of the car the same. So in this case, I believe we went 8 cranks, 8 quarter turns to give it 2 full rotations of that nut. You can watch as we pull that, it's going to adjust that arm, and then whatever we do on this side, we're going to go do on the other side of the car on the same bolt.
The key is to take the pressure off the spring, because you can turn it with a little wrench. And if you turn it with a big wrench with all the pressure on, you will strip the screw or the bolt that is at the end of the spring.
At this point, we put the tires back on the car and went about testing it in the driveway to see how it worked.
This is how I usually come in, and it still scrapes a lot of time. 27 and 13, 26 and 13, 16.
At this point, Bob's car has been lifted an inch, and you've seen how to do it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for hanging around.